Hi everyone, thank you for joining this session. So this is the 7 sessions of test automation series where I'm going to cover on CI/CD pipeline. Along with me, Amit and Rohit and Vibhor is a co-host of the sessions. Host of the sessions. So we'll discuss here about Jenkins overview. So what is Jenkins? What is the advantage? Why we can use and different aspects about the Jenkins and what is the CI/CD pipeline. Jenkins integration with the UiPath and GitHub, and we'll see this in practical demo. So myself, Deepak Rai, I'm the one of the MVP of UiPath, and today we'll cover on CI/CD pipelines using UiPath and Jenkins. So Jenkins is a software that allows continuous integrations and continuous development. So what does it mean by continuous integrations and continuous development? So let's say we have some set of automation prospects or set of code which needs to be deployed on any environment. So Jenkins is an open source automation tool written in Java with plugins built for continuous integration purpose. So generally, if that code is available on server and we have updated any single line of the code and we want to deploy that to any particular server, so automatically if we have the set pipeline we can deploy it automatically. So there is no human interventions will be required. It means we can schedule it. So uh, it means generally the versions control system. So let's say we are working on version 1.1 and a new version is coming like 1.2. So automatically that process will capture this version update and deploy this complete code into the particular environment. So Jenkins is used to build, test our software project continuously, making it easier for developers to integrate changes to the project and making it easier for users to obtain a fresh build. It allows us to continuously deliver our software by integrating with a large number of testing and deployment technologies. This is a very much helpful for the developer point of view. If any code is updated and the newly code is available on server, automatically that code will be deployed into any particular environment, which environment might be QA, dev, and UAT. So with Jenkins, organizations can accelerate the software development process through automations. Jenkins integrates development lifecycle process of all kinds, including build, document, test, packages, stage, which is QA, UAT, and development, and pre-prod, even the prod version. So depending on the organization pipeline or organization setup or stage which is created earlier. So we can also do the deployment of and see the static analysis and many more things we can do it. So Jenkins achieves continuous integration with the help of plugins. So which plugins allows the integration of various DevOps stages. If we want to integrate to a particular tool, we need to install the plugin for that tool. For example, like Git, Maven for the project, Amazon EC2 instance, and several other cloud instances. So here we can see, just like if we want to deploy the build via using Maven, we can use it. If we have a Git repository where we are doing versioning control system, we can deploy it. Then there are several other add-ons are also there. By using that, we can do this process. So here we'll see how we can integrate Jenkins with the UiPath and do automatic deployment. So we have to just click on single button, and if we'll schedule this process, it will automatically deploy the versioning. So whenever any new version of code is available to our platform, it will auto deploy to particular environment. So which all advantage we have for users of Jenkins? It is an open source tool with great community supports. It is easy to install. It has 1,000 plus plugins for ease of developer and tester or the automation tester. If a plugin does not exist, we can code it and share it with the community, and from there we'll get an help. This is a free of cost available tool, but for enterprises, if we have to perform the setups, they are also providing the support for configuration point of view. the build was done with the Java. So this will also support with a different platform language, like other platform language. Now, what we can do with the Jenkins? So as I said, this is a CI/CD pipeline process where we can set the process into architectures like mentioned above. We have master and slave. So by using these two architectures, we can set it up the process where the auto deployment will be done. If we want to just one master, we can go ahead with that approach. And if we want to use the slave architecture, that is also possible where we can utilize that framework. There are many open source plugins are also there to handle multiple jobs in an automated manner. So as I said, it is a monolithic or microservices based applications are well supported. No, now why shall we use Jenkins? Because this is open source tool where we can integrate with any of the available tool. This is compatible to deploy the microservices with the Kubernetes and Docker and several other cloud platforms like AWS, EC2, then Azure. Then we can also use UiPath Orchestrator for the deployment of the process while integrating even GitHub. So next applications era with microservices based development only, as the need for scalability and availability arises for certain services only in maximum application scenario, and this will have pipeline support. So whenever we want to perform this type of scenarios, we can create either single pipeline or multi process pipeline, which we can use it for the deployment perspective. Now, let's see how we can configure and set it up the auto setup environment. So first of all, we have to install Jenkins. For installation point of view, Jenkins, just navigate it to the Jenkins website, and from here, download the version. So once we'll click on the download, it will navigate us to the different operating systems. So if you want to install it through Docker, you can select the Docker platform, and from here, you can select the appropriate version. So as of now, I'm going ahead with the Windows. So simply click on Windows and download the package. So once you click on the download, it will start downloading. And from here, we can, once the download has been completed, we can install it in our system. So we cancel this. Before installations, we will need Java version. For Java installations, generally Jenkins is supporting 11 and higher version. So whenever we are installing Jenkins, we have to make sure that Java version is upgraded 11 and higher versions. If you'll navigate it to this page, you will get version 8. But if we want to install the, sorry, sorry, one second. Yeah. Now, if we want to install the Java 11 and plus version, so simply search on Java version 11 and higher. So if we have 11 and higher versions, that we can check it through CMD. Just simply write here Java hyphen version, and we'll have this Java 11 and plus versions are installed. If we have lower than this versions, we won't be able to install Jenkins into our system. Now, next is, once the exe file is available into our system, just navigate it to the folder. Here we have double click on this application and it will start installing and follow the processes. So it will ask us to select the Java version. So generally we can select the exact path of the Java version and this process will be installed. And after that, uh, installations, it will ask us to map with the port number. So generally the port number for Jenkins is 8080, but if we want, we can set it up a different port number. So if we are using a different port number, we have to configure it and allow that permissions to be enabled in firewall. Otherwise, whenever we are running the pipeline, it won't work. So we have to make sure that port number will be accurate. Generally, for IIS server is using 8080 port number. So if we are using Jenkins and using the same port number, it will work fine. But if we are using a different port number, we have to allow it through a firewall. So post installation, this will navigate it to the local host server where we can see this type of dashboard. Generally for after installations, we'll get this host number, and from here we have to enable it all other plugins. For enabling the plugins, we have to navigate it to the manage plugin sections, and from here we can see the updated plugins are available. Which all plugins are available, we can see it here, and which all installed plugin into our system. So we can see the complete plugins detail here. So once the installation has been completed, for installation of plugins, this will take minimum 1 or 1.5 hours for installing all this plugin, because these plugins are used for the bundles, branches, building the timeout sessions, timestamp value. So this is a complete infra. It is creating a complete infra for our installation and deployment point of view. So this will normally takes 1 and 1.5 hours for setting the complete plugin, and post that we have to add additional plugin of UiPath. Simply search here from available plugin UiPath. Yeah, so for me, this is already installed. Otherwise, we'll get the options to install it, and here we can see this plugin is already added. Manage plugins, plugins, search, installed version. And here we can see UiPath plugin. Without that, we won't be able to push the code directly from the UiPath orchestrator. So this is a mandatory requirement, required components for integration of Jenkins and UiPath. So once this plugin will be installed, we have to create the pipeline. So before creating the pipeline, we will need the process and set. So for creating the process and set, just navigate it to the UiPath Studio, and from here I'm selecting simple process here. I just want to count the number is higher or greater than number 50 or less. So here I've created one counter, and based on that it will do the comparison. So we don't need to do the much settings here except adding this complete code into GitHub. So we will need the GitHub repository. From there, we can add this code. If we want to clone with any of our code which is available into the Git repository, we can directly clone it here. Otherwise, if we want to push this type of code, because this code is already in it, so that's why the Git init is disabled. But generally, when we are adding, let me show you here. Open any code to the start. Cases. Yeah. So if I want to add to the Git, so generally this Git init option is available. So for adding this, I will select, yeah, so I'm selecting complete paste, select folder, not a parent index project. To your web automation. Yeah. Now we will get these options are to be pushed to the Git. And here we will send the commit message. And once we will add commit message, commit and push, this code will be pushed. So first time it will ask our get username and password to be integrated, because my get user and password is integrated. I can see this name. So again, I will define the name as web automation. And here we have to define the git path. So oh, I think that's the reason. So here I'm already having the get credentials and it's already logged in. So we'll navigate it to the code repository where I want to post this code. So I will select that repository and okay, for this. Projects. From here we can copy and paste the path to our UiPath. Add the URL and click on add. This will start adding this complete command. Just overwrite it. So this will take some time to be pushed into from UiPath Studio to the GitHub, and post that we'll start doing the configurations from Git to Jenkins. So this is done now, and we can see the complete code here. We can see the recordings, and earlier detail was deleted. After adding this, we'll need one script as well for triggering the process. And this script will help us to connect with our orchestrator, and with that orchestrator detail, it will trigger the process to Jenkins. So here I've defined my orchestrator URL, the logical name, tenant name, and the folder name. So based on that, you have to define your username, orchestrator URL, logical name, tenant name, and folder name. And a part of that, we have to add or enable API access to the tenant. Otherwise, we won't be able to trigger that process from orchestrator to Jenkins. So, and again, we can create the environment here. So if we want to create the environment for dev, UAT, and QA, we can create these environments probably here. So we will see all this environment detail. And if we are adding any environments or any additional environment, we have to specify it here in stage sections. So if we have a build environment available, we can add build. If we have a test environment is available, we can add test accordingly. So if we have multiple environment, we can copy and paste this code in multiple time and add into like a JSON format. So it will start from here. Yeah, this code is start from stages till here. So we have to copy it multiple times. So let's say we are working on test, UAT, and QA, and we want to add all three environments. We have to copy it, this complete code accordingly. So here, once we are done, we can also add this script into UiPath Studio and publish that code to Git. So let me see this. So application is web automation. Here UiPath Jenkins integration. Now this is done. Refresh this page and post the command. Just refresh the commit. So I am just adding the script. So writing the script, commit and push. Now that code is available into Git repository. Refresh this page and you can see this commit option is available. Just added the script. Now next action is to enable it through orchestrator API. So in admin sections, we will have tenant detail. From tenant detail, so that's yeah. Services, inside the services, we will have orchestrator, and from here we can get the API access. And from here we have to copy user key and client key. And after copying this, we can paste it into this API, sorry, Jenkins integrations. So for doing the Jenkins integrations, we have to copy and paste for the authentication point of view. If we will not add these credentials, we won't be able to get the data from orchestrator. So for integrations, we will use this detail into manage Jenkins and manage credentials. We can add those credentials here. For adding these REST API credentials, we have to add a new process because I've already added it here inside the sections. It won't allow me to add the next one. So in that sections, we will have the new credentials add detail where we can add our user key and secret credentials. So for doing this complete process, let me show you again. Login, manage Jenkins. This yeah, we can add the credentials from here. From the global sections, we can select secret file, and here we have to select global Jenkins node item, all child item, etc. This options. If we have the file available, we can add it directly. Otherwise, we can add ID, which is a secret code. So this is our secret code. We have to paste it here and post that, click on create. So this will create our credentials and save it into the Jenkins board. Now, after that, we have to add the pipeline. So for adding the pipeline, which will trigger our process directly through Jenkins without going into the orchestrator and GitHub. So here we have connected through our API. Generally for API connections, if we have multiple environment, as I said, we have to configure the multiple environment. Otherwise, if we have the single environment, we can set up our Jenkins pipeline accordingly. So for setting up Jenkins pipeline, we have to go to the pipeline itself. So dashboard sections, click on new item, and from here we can add our Jenkins code. So let's say we want to push the web automation code, web automation code, and here we will get multiple options. So first is multi-branch pipeline, and here we can select any of the options. So if we have orchestrate long-running activities that can span multiple build agents, then we will select this one. Otherwise, we'll select the multi-branch pipeline, which creates a set of pipeline projects according to detected branch. So here we have multiple branch generally in GitHub. So we will select the multi branch pipeline, click OK, specify the name and source. So here we'll specify the name as web automation. This is my display name. Add the description, and from source sections we'll select GitHub. Now repository HTTPS URL. We have to add the repository URL. So we'll again return back to same code, and from here we will copy and paste it. Now just validate this, and you can see the credential is okay and it got validated. So this is a global added credentials, a kind of drop down where we can certify, because earlier we have added the credentials. That's why it got successful validations done, and we can see credential is okay. So here we have added API user key and secret file. Because of that, it's got validated. And then when we talk about the discover branches, if we have multiple branches, we can select all, and if we want to exclude any of the branch from the GitHub, we can exclude it from here. We can also discover pull request from the origins. So these all settings we can specify it. Otherwise, if we don't have these type of settings, we will click on save. So based on the HTTPS URL field, this will enter URL to our GitHub repository and click on save. It will add the complete process. So if we are adding this process first time, generally this will take around 10 to 15 minutes for running the process, totally depending on our code to code basis or even size of the folder. If our size of the folder is smaller, this process will take around 1 or 2 minutes. But if we have big file, generally it will take some time. So this will scan our complete repository log, and Jenkins should have replicated the structure of GitHub repository within the master branch. We should see the pipeline has successfully created. So probably this will take some time. Let's understand few of the other processes in Jenkins. So this is my earlier process which has created. Once this process has been completed, web automation piece has been completed, we will be able to trigger the process. So if it is already running, if we will run it from here, this will throw an error message. If we have already successfully established the connections and added any of the pipeline, once we'll click on this schedule scan, so you can see this will start scheduling or running the process. When we are creating a new item or pipeline, we want to set it up any particular timeline. So let's say I'm adding test. Multi-branch, click OK. Here we have some properties about builds, old item display. 1 second. Yeah. So because here you have specified the Jenkins file, that's why we have to run the process accordingly. But if we will add some auto trigger script here, so this code will execute it according to the set time, because we have not specified the auto trigger code here. That's the reason we have to trigger it manually. But if we have any source of code which is available at the scheduled time, this process will start triggering, and whenever new build will be available, this will deploy the code or even upgrade the version for any team members. So this is how we can set it up complete process, and in build configurations page we can see the periodically if this is not otherwise run. So this process we can set it up according to 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, or maybe 8 hours or 12 hours. So if we will select this process, what it will do after 24 hours, this process again trigger it. If any build is available, it will deploy the code and again return back to the same page. From the orphaned, from the strategy, this is the job which is removed from the SCM heads, which is a deleted branch. But if we can keep this ad, so whenever the abort builds are available, it will start downloading the process and upgrading the system. So discard the old one and uncheck this process. If we want to add the health metrics about our complete pipeline, we can also add child item with the worst health or maybe health of primary branch of repository. So we can see the complete health of our primary branch, which is available here. Pipeline library, if we have any Groovy scripts are available, generally Jenkins is working on script basis, and Groovy script is the best compatible scripting mechanism. So based on that, it will start executing the process, and once the process has been completed, it will show the success message. And once we are done with complete setup, click on save, and this process will be saved. And whenever the time will appear, or whenever the time will meet as per the setup time, then this process will start executing the or running the code. Now, still running, and whenever we want to see the complete log about this file, so let me show you the configurations. Not so here. It's still running. Yeah, build history. Inside the build history, we can see the complete stats whenever it is deployed and run it successfully. We can see all the stats detail here, and we can also have the log sections here. Standard, because it's running, that's why we are unable to see it. But in CI/CD, we have configured this just single instance. That's why we are unable to see the complete process. But if we have multiple projects detail, we can see the second process if it is not running. So in this log sections, we can see the complete log about the work, and even we can configure the project related information. So if we have multiple projects which is running, let's say in any organizations we have multiple projects in place, so we can categorize this complete configurations into different project bucket. Then reindexing with the different branches which is available in GitHub, or maybe if we are using AWS and any other cloud platform, we can also perform the reindexing branches. If we want to create a additional pipeline with the help of some documentations, we will have the complete documentation that are available into the Jenkins book pipeline, where we can configure it accordingly, and this will have the complete detail about the process, stage, steps, node, and why we are using it. So these details will help us to build the script, which is a Jenkins file pipeline, and based on the pipeline, Jenkins files pipeline, this script is running automatically. Now we have the documentations of the creating multiple branch projects. So that's all about the integrations of Jenkins pipeline and uploading and creating or setting up the environment for the running. So we have created just now, that's why it is taking some time, but generally within fraction of seconds deployment will be done. So first time definitely it will take some time because it will gather all the informations. Then this is connecting with the GitHub with the different repository. Then we have set it up our orchestrator API access. So that's why it is taking time. Generally, it will take 48 minutes. But once first time it will run successfully, from next time onwards, within fraction of seconds, our build will be deployed and we will see successful message here. So once the process has been successfully completed, we can see green mark. Otherwise, if our processes will fail, then we will then we will see this pipeline into red mark, and complete build history will be available here. So whichever processes failed will be highlighted with the red color, and whichever process is passed, we can see it into green color. So that's all. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I will be happy to answer it. Maybe you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, Hemant here. Regarding
Yes.
test and deployment, means Jenkins provides it, but like how do we bake in the test? It's like unit test, and then see, it's the nugget package. When we deploy to production, we don't want all the test scripts, right? So what can be done for that configuration? Is there any way we can do it Jenkins and UiPath deployment packages? Anything can be tied up?
So when we are adding the packages, if you have observed, when I post my code into, let me add one more file here and then I will post it. So here, let me add one image here, then I will post that code. Yeah.
Means I mean there is you have a test case XAML, right? Means
Yeah.
we will have that.
Yes.
While deployment will since it's just a nugget package, it will package it. It will even include this package, right? So is
Yeah.
there any way we can decouple these test cases to deployment environment that way?
Debugging the test cases is not possible in
No, no.
Jenkins.
I mean to say, means while deploying it to the developments, from development to test and then the production environment, can these XAMLs can be excluded? Is there any way we can do that?
So copying the YAML from one folder to the other folder is possible in Jenkins itself. So if we are setting the pipeline and creating the different stage or maybe different environment, we can simply the copy the code from the previous environment as well. What we are defined at the time of creation of the pipeline, we have added the git locations, but we can add different location as well. Wherever your file is available, it will copy that exact file into the different environment. So let's say your code is available into dev or maybe UAT or maybe in pre-prod environment, and you want to create it for the productions. So simply copy that path and paste it to here. So exactly all the files will be added into the production environment.
Okay, means since we can exclude some files, is there any options and Jenkins, or should we explore it?
Excluding means
Yes,
excluding any of the process, you said.
yeah, XAML files, something like
Excluding the XAML files, we cannot set it up directly from here.
that.
But if in that case, maybe if you are using GitHub or any other repository, so from there, we at the time of creation of the bucket or a folder, we can exclude some of the folder path. So that's what I was trying to explain you here. So let's say I'm updating, maybe I'm changing this web automation name. Instead of web automations, let's give web auto. Yeah. And now I will commit the code. So here we have committed, but if we want to, no, sorry, let me select any other file. when we are adding or doing init section, so here I will select cross browser, select folder, and from here we can exclude any of the file. So if I don't want to include this test case, I will exclude it. So whatever file I will select, that only it will move into the my repository, and from there it will take the path to Jenkins. Is that fine?
That defeats test case development scenario, right? It's an open discussion, so but still we need test case as a development goes on. We need test suits along with our development workflow files. But test means as unit test grows on, we don't want to deploy to production unit test files into production, right? So uh, do let me know if those things are available. Means committing it is a one way around, but having that in the repository and then excluding it due to while deploying to production is what I'm looking at. Means if there are other ways, we'll have to look at it. Yeah.
Otherwise, I am not understanding your questions properly. Can you please rephrase it?
Yes. See,
Yeah.
there are multiple unit tests we need to write as our whole process we develop, right?
Yeah.
And then means if I don't commit into my repository, that whole that test case will go for means it will be excluded.
Yeah. Right.
Means I want to include that, but I don't want to deploy to production. So that's what my use case is.
Okay. So see, we are not deploying into production. So that's why I said we can create a different environment. So if you want to keep it into the unit test, or if you want to keep it that into the QA, and from there when we are moving Jenkins also, it's very much customizable according to a script. It will run. So if we want to exclude any of the stage, we can exclude it, which is very much possible. So if that's the reason we are defining the stage here. So from which stage it will go to the next stage. So if we are specifying like from UAT, from UAT it will move to the production. So it will not accept any of the files from the QA in any other environment. So we have to customize it inside the script only.
Okay. Got
Yeah. Any other question from anyone?
Deepak, Vinod here.
Yes, Vinod.
Is there any tool to do a couple of checks on the code before deploying onto any production environment, before deploying onto any environment?
So in so what do you want to apply it actually?
So let us say, for example, my developer is using non-naming conventions. So he should follow certain principles while developing a code.
So there is a one workflow analyzer part is there, which is an inbuilt feature of UiPath itself. I think that will help you.
Can I use it as a part of pipeline?
No, as a part of pipeline, we cannot use it. But as a part of development best practices, we can use it in terms of UiPath.
Okay, but that sounds like my developer has to every time manually verify, I mean, click on a button, right? Analyze my code.
Yes. So generally, so again, if we want to see, there are additional add-ons are also there where we can look about the code. So that you have to include it in Jenkins. So I did not remember the actual name of that. There is a one add-on from the .NET platform where we can analyze our complete code, like our naming conventions, then the path best practices, then the credentials. So this is the open source platform which we can integrate into the Jenkins and set it up accordingly. So for again, when we are adding additional add-ons, so you have to include into the script. Based on that script, it will start working on it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So there are various platforms. Even one of the add-on are available in one of the RPA platform that is created by Reliable Group, where we can see the complete code review. So that will give us the status about our code. So several add-ons are also there. Even one of the add-ons are recently created by the Roboyo team, where we can apply analyze our complete code. So totally depending on our which add-ons we want to integrate it with the Jenkins and apply it inside our code.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone? Or are we good to move to Mentimeter sessions? Okay, if you don't have anything, maybe Amit can present on the Mentimeter questions.
Sure. So let me send the Mentimeter link over here. So I have shared the Mentimeter link. So we have a question and answer quiz segment, right, for this year chapter. So please join the link which I have shared in the chat. And also you can go to the menti.com and you can use this code which is displaying on the screen. So please join quickly so we can start the quiz. So total we are around 25 people. So 12 participant has been joined. Please join quickly, guys. I'm expecting 10 more. 13 are joined. Okay, all right. So let's start with the quiz. We have 13 members. So first question on your screen. Why shall we use Jenkins? So we have 20 seconds to answer this question. Three, two, one. Yes, and time's up. So let's see the answer. So it's all of compatible with Microsoft Services based development and pipeline support. So with these three needs, we are using the Jenkins. So 6 people have given the correct answer. So let's see the leaderboard. So Vivek Bote is fastest. We have 959 points. So good. So let's see for the second question. Does Jenkins is open source tool? I think everyone can answer. Yes or no? Great. So everyone has answered correct. So yes, it's an open source tool. So let's see the leaderboard. Okay. So we can see again Vivek is on top. Great. Let's go for the next question. Which version of Java support the Jenkins? 1.8, 5, version 8, version 11. Let's see the answer. Right. So version 11 supported. So 12 people, they have given correct answer. Let's go to the leaderboard. Oh, good. So we have now Mehruz on the top. Great. Great participation, guys. And now let's proceed for the final question, and then we decide the winner. And the question is, one, configure the Jenkins with orchestrator. Which credentials are required? Username, password, client key and secret key, and all of the above. And time up. So the answer is, so yeah, 6 people given correct answer. Client key and secret key is required whenever you are configuring Jenkins with the orchestrator. Great. So let's see the leaderboard now. And who is the winner? Wow, congrats, Mehruz. So to win this competition for this particular session. Congrats. Thanks for participating and thanks for answering all the questions. Congrats. So you will get the
Yeah, so top 4 winners will get the goodies from the UiPath. So please share your email ID into chat box.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Deepak, and giving the it's very interesting session. I can see that it's because in test automation, continuous integrations and deployments very necessary. And same thing with the UiPath, right? We are exploring so many things, right? Web, desktop, mobile automation. That also deployment of your test scripts, automation in production, different servers. That are also important things. So thanks for giving the all the setup and configuration, how we can do everything in UiPath. Thanks for giving the session. So now we have the final session, guys, of this series, test automation. So let me share my screen again. Yeah, so we can see the in UiPath community test automation chapter, right? So now, so today we are done with the CI/CD pipeline, and now last we have a November 2. Ask me if anything about the test suits or a test suits, right? So here, me and Deepak, we will answer you whatever question so far, whatever the chapters we have done, web, scriptless test automation, desktop automation, mobile APIs, ALM reporting, CI/CD. Apart from that, if you have any other questions, right, in terms of the UiPath test suits, right? So you can definitely join on November 2. This session was previously planned on the 26th of October, but there's a Diwali vacation in India, we can see. So most of the people are busy. So we have postponed for the 2nd of the November. Okay, so you can again go and you can participate for this session as well. It's a final session of this series. So those are people, they have missed earlier chapters, earlier session, so they can join. And if they have any other questions, so you can ask in this particular session. All right.
We did not got the email ID of Hemant.
Should I share, please?
Yes.
Top 4. Please top 4 share your email ID.
Okay. I shared to Amit. If you want,